we learned as we went along how to serve our patients better, right? And to become a more holistic practice. So at a certain point, I brought on a consultant who that is her whole background, was working in a weight loss practice and obesity medicine certified and all the things, tons of experience in it. And she had said, oh, what a great tool this was. And so I didn't compare or anything. She said, this is great. This is what you should get. And I trusted her. I was paying her to tell me that stuff. So I, I trusted her on it.
Welcome to Beyond the Scale. I'm your host, Bradley from InBody, and this podcast exists to educate and empower the next generation of healthcare providers. We're here to share tips, tricks, and tools to help catalyze your growth with the application of InBody's ecosystem of health assessment tools. My guest today is Cassie Lane, an aesthetic injector, trainer, and a successful aesthetics practice owner. With a background in nurse anesthesia, she loves all things procedural. Cassie loves helping her patients feel more confident by helping their inner beauty shine on the outside. Her other passions include helping other nurses and nurse practitioners succeed in entrepreneurship. She's here today to help share her guide to achieving a successful aesthetic business. Welcome, Cassie. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So 2 parts to this conversation. I feel like we can talk about your experience with InBody so far and how you've applied that in your practice. And then the other part is your mentorship and coaching community where you're helping other providers to learn from your success. So tell me a little bit more about where you got your start in your career.
As you so graciously introduced me, my background, my start is I am a nurse. I was a CVICU nurse. I went back to school to become a nurse anesthetist. I've been doing that for over a decade. And I started kind of more on the side doing Botox and filler injections, and I just kept growing that. And I loved owning my own business. That has really been a huge passion of mine. And I just continued to grow that business and ended up now full time. I run a med spa and also a training company. So I own Cassie Lane Aesthetics, not very creative name, but you have to be really careful with trademarking. I mean, anybody listening to this, when you're picking a name, it's not just like, oh, that sounds cool. Like isn't harder than you think to double check trademarking. So there was some strategy behind that name. And then I'm also the co-owner of Injectables EDU, which is an aesthetic, primarily injectables, but we do also have a cash-based weight loss course. We kind of do all things aesthetics, med spa, entrepreneurship. So that's kind of how I got into it, kind of slid in sideways and realized that I just really love doing all this stuff. And now I can't get enough.
When did you start your Cassie Lane aesthetics business?
Yeah, so I started in 2020. So it's been 4 years.
Cool.
And it's funny because for a lot, I've actually been training for a while now, and I used to feel kind of like, oh no, like I've only been doing it for this many years, and I've kind of reframed how I think about it, which is like I've had a lot of success in a short amount of time, and I feel like that's awesome. Like you can do it too. And I'm always telling people, I'm like, really, I'm not anything special. I worked hard and I had good mentorship, and that led me to have some really great success. And so just kind of trying to let people know, like, this is how I did it. You can do it too, and you don't have to wait a decade to be successful, which is cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there that can help you be successful if you're willing to work with a coach or a mentor too. And we can definitely dive into what you offer in that program. But tell me more a little bit about your philosophy of care when a patient comes in to your practice, and how are you, coaching them and caring for them?
Yeah, I think my philosophy of care towards my patients is pretty consistent with most every other provider that I meet, which is just giving the time, caring, the energy, bringing a holistic picture, and just really listening. I think as clinicians, that's where we excel, is at giving that really top quality care. So I think that what is more difficult sometimes is that business back end part where we don't have as much experience. I think what we're born to do and why we became nurses or PAs or doctors or whatever it may be is because we love caring for patients, and that's what drew us to it. And I think most of us, that is such a strength. And it's, I guess, maybe what's not always a strength is, okay, well, how do I take this strength in caring for patients and make that so like I can do financially well too, so I can have a profitable business, so I can continue to take this great care of my patients, and also maybe, not just work for a hospital system or some other group. You can have the real say in your schedule, how long you get to sit with the patient, things like that. So it allows you to deliver the care that you want to give when you can own your own business, I think.
Tell me a little bit more about then how you structured your business. If somebody comes in as a patient, what kind of things are they going to see? What are you going to offer to them in that experience?
Yeah, so our core definitely started out as aesthetics, Botox fillers, we do lasers. Um, I'm trying to remember when we brought on semaglutide pretty early for my area. I'm located out of Richmond, Virginia. We were actually the first practice in Richmond to start offering cash-based GLP-1s. So that was pretty cool. But because I do have a great network of like other nurse practitioners and stuff, I had been familiar with hearing from people that were in bigger cities or more like West Coast. They had been offering these services for a while, but being in a more secondary city, I was able to kind of take advantage of that and be kind of the first to market as it was just kind of starting to hit here, and people were starting to see more about it in the media. So we quickly really grew a lot in the weight loss, and that's now become a really big pillar of our practice as well. Um, and we've expanded our weight loss program not only to include compounding GLP-1s, but we also do more traditional weight loss medicine, like prescribing Ozempic or prescribing Wegovy, Zepbound, topiramate, phentermine, kind of all the things. So we kind of have a couple different roads for weight loss in our practice, and that's kind of what led us to InBody, which is cool.
Were you doing the weight loss with the GLP-1s before you got the InBody and then after you
Yes,
got the InBody?
yes,
What,
both.
what was your experience like using the GLP-1s without a body composition analyzer versus when you did bring in the body composition analyzer?
Yeah, I think being able to keep a better pulse on, are they doing this in a healthy way? Like, are we losing too much muscle mass in this weight loss journey? Because the scale doesn't, a regular scale doesn't tell you that. And I think it gives a real tangible tool to be able to really bring home some of the lifestyle stuff, right? So it's not just about losing weight, it's about losing it healthily, and there's some sort of measure for that. I think that's the biggest thing. The other thing for me is it's a really nice retention tool. Like, why choose me over going to whatever.com, right? And guess what? They're selling it cheaper than me. So why choose me? And so I think having that in-person element and bringing value in office is incredibly important, because they want to come in and pick up their medication through me because they're looking forward to seeing their progress on the scale. So it's a great retention tool, I felt as well. And I think it helps other programs or other physicians, nurse practitioners want to refer their patients to my program because they realize that I've got a 360 program that includes nutrition. We include weight loss coaching. Now we've got the InBody. So other providers don't feel comfortable. They're not trying to dump them into a pill mill, right? Where it's like, well, here's your prescription. See you again in a year. They want to give their patients the best care too, and send them somewhere that they trust is going to be having this integrative approach that's addressing in a more holistic way, right?
Yeah, GLP-1s are kind of a controversial thing here nowadays, I think, because of the rapid popularity. And I don't think I've made it through a podcast yet where I haven't talked about it. Um, Tell me a little bit more how you have been able to shape your program to support patients in that where it may be a little controversial, or what other kinds of things are you providing? You mentioned nutrition with this weight loss program. How are you also supporting the lifestyle holistically for your patients?
Yeah, so we team up with dietitian, we team up with, gyms, we team up with we have her name's Weight Loss by Brittany. If anybody's looking to bring on weight loss coaching, like the idea of like why do we eat and checking with your body, am I hungry, that type of stuff. She actually has a program that you can give access to for all the people in your program, all your patients in your program, which is nice. We talk a lot about diet and exercise and losing weight the healthy way all throughout our journey. So we're always pushing protein. We talk about, the science behind if you eat 30 grams of protein or more in a sitting, how that's actually going to boost your metabolism until your next meal. We talk a lot, like I already mentioned, about so for example, for every 3 pounds of fat you carry around, you're going to build 1 pound of muscle, right? So that is easy for my patients to understand. Well, you're going to lose some muscle as you lose weight, right? You can give up a little bit of muscle because it doesn't have to carry around that load, but we want to make sure it's in the right proportion and that we're not, you know, we don't want to be skinny fat, right? We want to be healthy. And that's where kind of seeing that breakdown makes it very tangible for the patients, which is great.
Tell me, why did you choose InBody? And when you were looking for body composition analyzers, did you look at anything else? And why did you choose InBody?
We learned as we went along how to serve our patients better, right? And to become a more holistic practice. So at a certain point, I brought on a consultant who that is her whole background, was working in a weight loss practice and obesity medicine certified and all the things, tons of experience in it. And she had said, oh, what a great tool this was. And so I didn't compare or anything. She said, this is great. This is what you should get. And I trusted her. I was paying her to tell me that stuff, so I I trusted her on it.
Well, when you got the InBody in, was it easy to incorporate?
Oh yeah. And actually I think we have come up with some cool ideas that I could share with how to implement the InBody because as I mentioned, I'm all about business. I'm all about the numbers. I'm all about being profitable. So like I don't buy anything without having a clear understanding and clear path of how this is going to make financial sense, right? It's going to be beneficial to my patients. It's going to be beneficial to my practice. And if I don't have a successful practice, then I can't have a practice, right? Um, so we've done something cool for our insurance. We have an insurance membership when we're prescribing people Wegovy or Zepbound or what have you. They're picking their medications up at the pharmacy, but they're still in a weight loss program with us that they pay cash based. And part of that program, they get a monthly mix shot. Part of that program, they get a monthly InBody scan. They get access to all these, 360 weight loss resources. So I feel that it's really helped kind of beef up when people are like, well, why am I paying the X amount of dollars out of pocket every month? Because my doctor could just write this prescription, right? And it's like, well, your doctor's not writing your prescription because these prior authorizations are a big pain in the butt. And you can't find it in stock anywhere. And they're not providing all these other things, but it gives just one more tangible thing on top of all the other things we're providing with like concierge medicine, unlimited in-office visits, this very tangible printout, right? That they can see their progress. So we even have a membership that is for people in our cash-based program. So maybe they're buying vials, right? They're flying solo. We're here for them when they need us, and we're checking in periodically, of course. But for those people that are more independent, we have a membership each month where they can come in and get a mix shot, touch base with us, and do their InBody. So just kind of encouraging that ongoing retention and touch points have been some ways that we've incorporated. And our clients have been really excited about it. To hop on there. They saw it for a few days before we had it all together and letting people on it, and we got a lot of questions about it, and they were excited to check it out.
So it sounds like the way you were describing the return on investment sounded like an indirect return on investment in a way that this is adding value to your program, so you can continue to add value over a longer term and maybe retain people in your programs longer or even opportunities to create other direct channels of return on investment where they invest in other programs or other products that you offer.
For sure, right? The more somebody's coming into your office, the more they're going to say, "Hey, actually, I'm feeling so much better about my body. I'd like to do something for myself and check out Botox, or I've lost this weight and now I feel volume depleted in my face. Can you talk to me about what I can do about that?" Um, so yeah, I definitely think, and just that retention, right? It's a lot more cost effective to retain the clients that you have than it is to pay to go out and get that new lead. So how do I keep them coming back to me when I'm not trying to be in a race to the bottom to be the cheapest GLP-1 out there? Because I will never win that, you know?
How have you incorporated the InBody into your marketing?
Yeah, we're putting it on our marketing stuff and our flyers and saying, "Oh, this is included," and pointing it out. I'm marketing it the same way I market the weight loss coaching and the dietitian. It's just like this really great asset that sets us apart from other programs that you could compare us to.
You mentioned also Botox in there. That's something that you have there as a service. Is that something that a lot of aesthetic practices do, or how, would somebody get started with something like that?
Yeah, so Botox is a really, really great add-on to a lot of other cash-based services and clinics. It is so Botox works by injecting a muscle with botulinum toxin type A. There's actually 5 different types of neurotoxins on the market right now. It relaxes the muscle that makes the face, that makes the wrinkle. So it's something that if somebody already knows you, likes you, trusts you, and already is coming to your office, and it can be really convenient for them to get this other service that they're either interested in or already getting maybe somewhere else, but they're already in your office. Um, it can be a really great add-on service. It is of course a skill. It takes practice, and it takes really great training, and it takes some mentorship, but it is um, definitely attainable to doable to add it to a practice. Um, like I said, it's in some ways it's straightforward. You're just relaxing the muscle that makes the face, that makes the wrinkles. So um, I do think it's a fairly low barrier to entry to add that on. And I always say it's pretty easy, I think, to get to where you can give a pretty decent Botox treatment. I think it's hard to become amazing at doing Botox, but I think the barrier to get, where you're giving some really great results is doable and not that long of a time, which is cool.
You mentioned that your patients saw the InBody when you brought it into the office and they were asking questions about it. When you did start testing patients and through your experience till now, what what does a typical consultation sound like when you introduce them to the analyzer, run them through the test, and then teach them about the results? How are you, taking somebody through that experience?
I've got, physician associate with me who does a lot of our consultation. I've got two shot, we call them shot nurses that do the shots for people in office. So it's not typically me being the primary educator of the InBody. So I do a little bit of it, but I don't do the real heavy like breakdown of this is exactly what this number means. So I wear a lot of hats in our practice. I focus probably more in doing a lot of our aesthetics, and I do our weight loss consultations, but a lot of our more full-time people who are focused on weight loss, they're doing most of those in my practice.
Well, I think that brings up an even greater point, perhaps, of being able to delegate tasks within a business, or even having specialists that can handle certain things, or having everybody aware, in our experience, of the InBody in the practice and knowing how to use it and give a test and kind of be aware of the results that are coming out can help support the implementation into the business. So it's not so much on you, but also the whole
Right.
team can provide that support.
Yeah. You want that person that deals with the with all this all day every day and is really has a lot of feedback on it and done in-depth study on it to kind of be leading that. But I think one thing I really focus on with people, especially the first time that they're hopping on, which is like this is a starting point. We do go through the sheet and what the different numbers mean and all that, but putting it into perspective of like this is where we're starting. We can learn more by looking at the trends rather than just like one number. We're looking to improve from where you're at today. Today isn't good, bad, or indifferent. It's just where you are today. And that this is a tool to see how you can, get healthier and improve, not, not necessarily just a representation of where you are right now. And I think that's the best way to use the scale is in those trends and them getting the positive feedback of being healthier and seeing improvement in those numbers.
Well, tell me a little bit more then about your the injectable EDU, and what is that? What is that program? How would you describe that to somebody who was just learning about it, and why would they want to learn more about it?
Yeah, great. Thank you for asking. Yeah, injectablesedu.com. Injectables EDU is the name of the training company. We focus on teaching nurses and nurse practitioners as our main audience. We teach both the clinical skills and the business skills to be an aesthetic entrepreneur. So we teach basic Botox in business. We teach dermal fillers. We have all the policies and procedures and dot notes, and we also have a how to start your own GLP-1 or semaglutide, tirzepatide cash-based program, and incorporate, how to set up with compounding pharmacies, how to price structure, all the prescribing information. So pretty much Injectables EDU is a training company, but it also has its foundations in mentorship and community. We're really the foundational building block of Injectables EDU is to have a community where we lift each other up and help each other. And the idea that the nurse practitioner down the street from you is really your biggest ally, not your biggest competition. And I think that's a real issue in our community currently. And so just trying to steer that ship a little bit, because in my opinion, the nurse practitioner up the street from me is my best ally in learning new things, finding out right about great devices, finding out about how much things cost. Who The things that make me scared is, venture capital, private equity, chains, medical device companies, pharmaceutical companies. Like those are the big players, right? The rest of us should be trying to work together to make our whole community stronger. So that is an element that runs throughout everything that we do, which is, listen, I'm not trying to keep my secrets and gatekeep. I'm trying to tell you this is how I did it. Don't make the same mistakes as me. I'll tell you mine and you tell me yours, and that way we can all be stronger and more successful.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody just getting started? What kind of, hacks or growth accelerators? Maybe if you lift the lid a little bit on what you've experienced and what you've seen throughout your program, what kind of things could you offer to somebody getting started or wanting to accelerate their growth?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, don't, this plays into what I just said. Like, don't be an island, find a community. I see people get led astray when the only people that are guiding them they're talking to is their rep who says, "Oh yeah, buy this $200,000 machine. Nobody else in town has it. You're going to get all the patients." You have that network, have a community, seek out high quality training. The other tip I will give you is if you want to, we encourage anybody who comes out of our classes, I encourage them to price themselves in the top 25% of their market. And I won't get, too much into the details of it, but you're gonna earn that because you're going to invest in yourself. You're going to become an amazing provider, and I know you're not going to feel like that from day one. Um, but you need to invest in yourself and your training if you're going to demand somebody to come pay you hundreds if not thousands of dollars an hour to come sit in your chair. You need to make that investment to be that provider that is worthy, to give that really great care. I think we are always happy to talk to people one-on-one. We offer free 20-minute consulting calls where you will talk to myself directly, or you'll talk to Suzanne, my business partner. I don't think you're going to find that in most training companies where we'll just talk to you for free and kind of listen to your situation, hear what barriers you're hitting, see how we can help. of course, I highly recommend our training because it's geared not just at that clinical piece of it, it's geared at that community and business piece. But we like to honestly talk to anybody else out there and just hear how things are going. We encourage people to take back that ownership and flexibility and work for themselves and create something in entrepreneurship. I think that's a really cool path, and we like to help people get there.
So if somebody wanted to learn more or, have that call with you, what's the best way to make that happen?
Yeah. You can book that call by going to injectablesedu.com, and there's a button that says, free 20-minute mentorship call, and I'll get that to you so you can share it with everybody as a part of this. You can follow us. We're on Instagram at InjectablesEDU. Same thing for Facebook. Um, but yeah, we've got tons of free blog articles that are pretty much all written by me. That's just really practical stuff about what I've learned. So we've got tons of free resources as well, if you're trying to figure out, is this for me? How would I go about it? I would definitely say start with reading all of our free blog posts and make a call with us. And we'd love to have you come train with us for sure.
For people that are thinking about adding a weight loss program to their business, what kind of opportunity is there for them?
Yeah, I would say if you're considering adding weight loss to your practice, go, leave this podcast and go start doing it today because it's such low hanging fruit because taking care of people, understanding these medications is already in our wheelhouse. And obviously the obesity epidemic is so widespread. There is an endless amount of people that are interested in these services and that you can truly help. And also the media is pretty much doing all the marketing for you by, having all these medications in the news constantly. So my advice would be if you think that you've missed the boat on having, this sort of cash-based program, I would say you definitely have not, and that we're still just really getting started with these medications, and it's becoming more and more mainstream.
So if you are interested in getting an InBody after listening to Cassie here and you feel like it would be good for your practice, you can visit learn.inbodyusa.com/injectablesEDU, and that will be in the show notes as well as the links to Cassie's website for her own aesthetic practice and the Injectables EDU. If you want to jump on there and schedule a call with her, learn more from the blog articles, and or even check out her Instagram. So thank you so much for joining me, Cassie. I appreciate you, and good luck on your journey.
Thank you so much for having me.